Welcome back to another episode of Sophia the 380 SL. This is part 2 of our air conditioning system. The heater works just fine. The blower is working. We just do not get any cold air coming out of the system. So last episode, on part 1 of the air conditioning system, we went over to Vic's house and Vic was able to hook up his vacuum line to check to see if it could hold some pressure, which it cannot. So apparently there's a leak in the system. We also checked on the compressor. That seems to be functioning just fine. I would suggest you go back to watch that. At the end of the video, we decided to order a bunch of parts. The parts have come in. We are going back to Vic's house to help us install some of the parts and move on with part 2 of this AC system. Hopefully we can get some cold air soon. Let me show you what I purchased. All right, here's the components that I purchased. I got all this through AutoHouse. I think the total on all this stuff was like 80 bucks. So here's the receiver dryer. This is what it looks like. It came in this box. Here's the part number for that. And then we got some thermostats and switches and all that stuff. There's this guy. And then when we go over to Vic's house, let's see what he does. Uses magic to help me fix some of this stuff, how to install it. This is all the rubbers, because again, we have a leak in the system, so hopefully some of the stuff will fit right in. And then we'll run another vacuum test to make sure that we're not losing any refrigerant. Okay, off to Vic's house. All right, so we removed the air filter housing. We're gonna go ahead and remove, what was it?
Well, we're gonna open this up right here and change the O-ring in there. Then we'll remove these two fuel lines. One's a return and one's a feed. Try not to get fuel everywhere. And then we're going to open this up right here and change the O-ring to that. Okay. So,
all right.
Take this. You look at the inside of that right there. You can see this is the seat.
Mm-hmm.
That ring's going to slip right in the seat to make sure it all seals up.
So there's the new one in there. There's the old one that I pulled out. Yeah. There's the new one. Okay, looks good.
Okay. Slide this guy on there. Take your time. If you're in a rush, you don't need to be doing this.
What was that oil you had me dip in that?
It was PAG oil, R134 oil.
R134 oil.
Right. So R12 systems come with mineral oil. This comes with PAG oil. And changing to PAG oil.
So while Vic's doing that, this is the old one that I pulled out. I came to my set that I had purchased with all these different options. I matched up the right one, and then I dipped it in this oil that we were talking about, just real quick, and then we reinstalled it.
So right now, we just got done replacing those two O-rings right there. And as you can see, they were pretty squared off. And so before we start putting a vacuum on it, what we're going to do is we're going to replace this receiver dryer here. The receiver dryer, Fred got two switches, the low pressure switch and the high pressure switch, and we're going to install those. Pretty simple operation. You just screw them right into there. That's all you have to do. And then take it off. We're going to do one more O-ring from here and take it off from there, where the receiver dryer connects to the condenser.
Sounds good. And then the O-rings that we just changed, one was right here, and then one was right here. We were able to do that without removing these fuel lines, which is great. And then just make sure you don't over tighten these two joints, so you don't smash those new O-rings that we've installed. So just from this angle, we've removed the electrical right here, right here. We've loosened these two bolts for now. Just don't take them off, just a little loosen. Taking off this electrical right here, and we're gonna go ahead and remove the receiver dryer from this end first. And then we'll just start removing along the way. got a bunch of washers, huh?
Yeah. Lock washer and I think a flat washer. So my suggestion is, Fred, let's get rid of that lock washer. One, the lock washer has to be replaced anyway because it still has a little spring to it, but it's pretty much gone. Let's put a lock nut, a nylon lock nut on it.
Sounds good.
And we'll put a flat washer and a lock nut. Okay.
It's out.
And she's out of there.
All right, cool.
All right, so take a look at this. See the kind of rust there. The rust penetrated it. There's moisture from inside the system, which is why we need to boil that thing down. Let's take a look at that one on the other side too. See a little bit of the rust in between there. Okay.
So as you're installing this, there's an O-ring actually built in on both of these sides. So you need to remove that O-ring because there's already an O-ring on these components. So go ahead and remove that old O-ring, or that's a new O-ring, but on both sides that comes built in, and then use the new O-ring that's already here. Make sure you dip it in the oil before you install this. Okay, before we install this thing, just wanted to show it to you. Here's the old one. Here's the new one, ready to go. There we go.
Okay. So
Pretty easy, just retighten exactly the way we pulled it off. All right.
Installation is reverse of removal.
Okay, sounds good.
So the first thing we probably want to do is put this guy on there and get those bolts attached. Well, we don't want to tighten these up all the way because we need a little play to get this get these up here. Okay. So let me go get those new bolts.
Receiver driver's in. Here we go. Got that connection back in. Got these added on. The electrical is connected. That's tightened. These two bolts are tightened. This thing's brand new, ready to go.
So just like we said during the charging procedures, we're going to make sure we're going to vacuum now. So we've put the high side to the high side, the low side to the low side. And Fred, will the high side fit on the low side?
It will not.
Okay.
I learned.
So,
and you said it earlier today too.
Yep. And so right now we're going to make sure these hoses are tight because at the end of each procedure, I bleed the hoses to make sure there's no pressure stored in the hoses. And since we're vacuuming, I'm going to turn on the manifold knobs. Okay, so I'm turning them all the way on. This one was on and I turned that. That's closed, that's open. So now the vacuum's going to come up from the yellow hose, which is connected to the vacuum pump. And it's going to vacuum out the high side and the low side. So and you can see we're already pulling a vacuum down. Just like in the previous video, the green scale measures vacuum in inches of mercury. The high side should be pegged. What we're looking for is to pull down to 27.5 inches of mercury. It's hard to see with my old eyes, but you'll see there's a little, at 20, there's another little large hash mark, which is 25. So just a little past that little large hash mark.
So 27.5?
Yeah. So you get 27, and we're going to leave it on there for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're ready to see if it's going to hold vacuum. So what I did is I turned those two knobs off. All right. Remember those two knobs went in their open position. They manifold or join everything together. So now I've separated them by turning them off. You look down here and I've turned off the vacuum, right? So it's not pumping vacuum anymore. Now I turn off the switch.
So this is the same thing that we did last time, right? It's just
Right.
we were just going to watch for a vacuum leak.
Right.
How long do we wait again? Like 20 minutes or something?
Yeah, but we're only going to wait a couple minutes here because what we want to do is we want to put Freon inside it. In the previous video, we had talked about using a charging scale. This is a charging scale. It's a yellow jacket, and they all pretty much work the same. Right now I'm weighing how much I have inside my bottle. Okay, if the bottle is 16 pounds, 1.1 ounces. We need to put 1.82, 1 pound, 8 ounce, 8.2 ounces into the car. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that, the weight, and minus 1.82 away from it, and that'll tell us the final weight of the bottle when the car is charged.
Okay, so it's so down here it's 16.11 minus 1.82. So I got 14.29. So we gotta charge it until it says 14.29.
Correct.
So
see how easy that is?
That was some easy math.
Oh, sure.
I did that in my head.
You.
Sounds
I did it
good.
on my head. My head's in Google.
Sounds good.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is, just like we talked about in the video, I'm going to attach this to the bottle. I'm going to put some gloves on. A hose removed from the vacuum pump. We're going to turn on our bottle. Now we're going to have a little valve. Wash your face. Now I can either crack the hose or press the Schrader valve. And what we're doing is we're evacuating all the air out of the system, out of the yellow hose. Okay. So all the air has been out. All we're having through is straight R134. So now what we got to do is turn the air conditioning on and put it on high. Let's see what we do. The fan's on. And this is right within the specs where we said you should look at charging. We're at about 34 or 35 on the low side, and right at about 248 on the high side. That's actually perfect. Now, remember I said the needles will be about even when the fan stops. The needles will look right even. If this one's pointing at noon, this one's pointing at noon. So we're good. So let's go check the vent temperature.
Yeah, the vent temp right now is at 61.
Right. So we said the outside temperature was 50 or 85.
85. Outside temperature was 85.
Right, 85, and we were supposed to cool down to about 20 to 25 degrees below the ambient temperature. So kids, we're there.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. Now it would get a lot colder if you had the hard top on, because then the recirculate would work. But right now, if you're recirculating, well, hot air.
Hot air, yeah.
So
yeah,
there you go.
That's awesome. So the only thing is that as long as I don't have a leak,
right,
and then I need to make sure I don't have a leak.
Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to unhook everything, and then what we'll do is we'll take the sniffer and check for leaks.
Okay. So the Freon's in. We got cold air. We're good. We're just doing our final checks.
We're going to do our final checks. So what I have here is a leak detector, and you hear it makes that little beep sound when you get close to refrigerant or when it's leaking. Let me turn up the sensitivity. it'll make a series of high-pitched squeals like when it gets something. Like that. So that was some residual pressure that was inside that valve. That's why it's so important to keep the caps on, because the caps are not for decoration. They're actually part of the sealing system. Put them on there nice and tight. So
just residual?
Right, it was residual.
Nothing active?
Nothing active.
That's good.
Can you?
Yeah. There's that. That's not good.
Looks like we have a little leak here, but I think we can stop that leak with the cap on it.
Okay. Put the cap back on. Try it out.
Yeah. Now we'll check out the places where we have joints. Those O-rings are holding nicely. Let's check out the... We put the switches in. There's a high pressure switch. There's a low pressure switch. There's the other joint we put it on. They're all sealed good and tight. So here's why we put the cap just on the high, because right now if we had to take that off and replace that Schrader valve, we'd have to start all over again. When we could, this cap is strong enough to hold this, and as you can see, it doesn't let anything out. So now I just real quick want to go into the car. See if it'll sniff anything leaking from the inside. Like if there's a hole in the evaporator, you could put this in there and it'll smell it coming out.
Does the car need to be running for it to do that, or you can just do that anyway?
Whether it's running or not.
Okay, got it.
So, yeah, no leakies.
All right. How about from the compressor?
Find the back of the compressor. I'm trying to avoid hitting that hot manifold. There's the back of the compressor where those hoses manifold into the back of it. We're good.
No leaks?
No leaks. I'll run it around the hose. Run around the hose. Get nothing, man.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
It's a pretty awesome tool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Takes a lot of the guesswork out.
Yeah. Cool. Just got back to my house from Vic's house. It's about a 25-minute drive. And it's 87 degrees out, and it's blowing at, it was actually a little cooler, maybe like a couple minutes ago. It got down to about 55 degrees, 53 degrees that it was blowing out, so it's pretty cool. It's about more than a 30-degree difference from the outside temperature. Still can't really feel it all that well because I've got the top down. I'm sure if I had this enclosed, I'd be freezing in here, but yeah, I've got the top open today. One extra attempt in order to make my AC even colder is to add some foam. This is a foam that's just regular from the hardware store. It looks like this. I think it comes like a 6-foot or 8-foot section. I went ahead and covered this part up You want it as cold as possible. That's where you have your refrigerant line going through. I'm gonna add this little section right over here. I believe this is 1 inch for foam. Final look on this foam. Put some zip ties here. A couple, 2 in the front, 2 and 2, 6 total. Looking pretty good. Hopefully that'll give me some good insulation. Give me some good cold AC. Again, let's take a look at the front. All new. All new. It's all new right here. Fairly easy work. All right, this project is finally complete. Thanks to Vic for helping me out with these 2 videos. I'm actually going to be posting a 3rd video, but that's more of the technical, and it's a presentation that's put on by Vic. There's going to be 2 separate presentations, but it's going to be put into 1 video. I'll post that in a few weeks. We're talking about more of the technical side on the electronics, and it also talks about using the manifold. So look forward to that. But thanks for Vic for helping me out with this car, getting the AC back going. So just to kind of sum things up, the first video, go back and watch that. That was we checked the compressor, we checked for leaks, which there was a leak, and then we made a list of things to purchase, like the receiver dryer. That came in. I showed you the parts this morning. Out of those parts that I had showed you this morning, we actually didn't end up using one of them, and that was the temperature sensor. So I believe, like, when you're looking at the 4 products, I think it was like the second one from the left. Didn't end up using it, so you don't have to order it. That was like 20 bucks. You don't need it. And then on today's video, so you got to see we changed the receiver dryer and all the components there. We changed those 2 seals. That was really easy. So all these things you could really do on your own. Adding the refrigerant gets a little technical with using the manifold and the pressures and all that. That gets a little confusing. Maybe you want to go back and watch this video a couple of times. Maybe you want to wait for a week or 2 until I post Vic's presentation. That may help you out, or maybe you want to have somebody else take care of that. But changing the receiver dryer was super easy. Changing the little rubber seals, make sure you don't over tighten so you don't destroy those rubber seals. That was pretty easy. Other than that, should be pretty good. If there are any issues with the AC system moving forward, I'll post another video, but as of right now, it's blowing at 55, 58 degrees, which is awesome. Again, big thanks to Vic for helping me out. All right, catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. I'll continue to post things as I try to fix more things on this 380SL, Sophia the 380SL. All right, thanks so much. Take care, bye.